The charts don't look good at all, unfortunately. Kingfisher has been bearish for quite some time. In 2008, of course, it crashed from 400 to sub 20 levels. It did rebound a bit in 2009 and 10, but from the back end of 2010, that somewhere around October, November, that's when bears took over again, and it's been in a very clear downtrend. Of course, the trouble that's happened in Kingfisher has come out fundamentally in the last few months, but the charts clearly gave a sell indication somewhere towards the end of 2010 when we were around 91, 92 odd levels. It continues to remain in a downtrend. I would start to turn cautiously optimistic on the stock only once it crosses above 30, 31 levels. It's nowhere near that, and should the market turn down, Kingfisher would be one of the stocks to get hammered the most. And should the market sustain, even then we could see Kingfisher continuing to languish either in a range or may even head lower. So my advice would be not to enter Kingfisher. Obviously, the aviation industry is not the easiest industry. If you were to look at the likes of SpiceJet and all, they do charts look somewhat better than Kingfisher, but even then, I would not put any money right now on the aviation industry. Ashu, Whale crashed obviously from a high of around 540. It seems to be the end of a downtrend and building base. So you'll have this kind of period where it's range bound, base building, before it can resume any kind of uptrend. But since the investor has bought it around 245, and if he's interested in holding on to this company, he can hold on with a stop loss of around 240 to 241 on a closing basis. But he would need patience because, like I said, I mean, it will have to build base before some kind of a sustained uptrend starts. If he's looking at immediate making money from somewhere, he could look at a number of trending counters. There are a huge number of counters in the market that are in well-established bull markets, likes of TCS, Titan, Asian Paints, Bata, Twistle, Lupin, Tata Motors. So he could look at those counters. But if he is interested in this particular sector and this particular stock, he could hold on with a stop loss of 240.
Okay, that's the take on BHL there. Let's move on and take the next question that comes in, and that's an SMS coming from Karan Malik in Delhi. He has 1,000 shares of Maruti at 1,328 rupees. So he's just about even Stevens with that investment. The month of March has been fantastic for most automobile companies, but what could it look like for the entire FY13? That's the big question. On the charts first, Hitesh, what's the call on Maruti?
Ashu, I'm not too impressed with the charts of Maruti. It is looking weak. We've had a kind of a rally, but it looks to be heading lower again. A close above 1410, and if it sustains, that would make me bullish on Maruti. So I would suggest the investor to exit. He's not losing too much. In the auto space, he could go in for a Tata Motors instead, which is definitely much more bullish than Maruti.
Okay, the chart's looking better for Tata Motors.
I would agree absolutely with you, Ashu. This is definitely looking much better than Kingfisher. It seems to be starting a new uptrend. It had crashed from 100 in 2010 to about 15 in 2011. So obviously the investors lost a lot of money, down about 70%. But if you were to look at charts currently, it seems to be forming a pattern of higher bottoms from its base of 15. So we could be invested in this. Keep a stop loss of currently around 20. And if that's sustained, it's quite possible that we could see a rally in this. So in this space, definitely, I mean, this chart is better looking than the other charts around.
Okay, let's take the next question, and this one comes as an SMS from Aarti in Delhi, and Aarti sent us this message: 30 shares of Bharti Airtel at 332 rupees a share. Again, not giving her too much money. Hitesh, the Bharti stock that seems to be stuck around that 300 mark for quite a while. It saw that 270 low or something around that when the competition was intense in the sector. Since then, it's hovered around that mark between 300 and 400 for quite a while. What does it look like? Is it testing the patience? Is that period over? How are you seeing it?
Bharti had uptrend, and in the year 2011, when the markets were overall going down, Bharti was one of the strong counters out there. But that seems to be over now. Somewhere around July, it hit its high of around 450, and now it seems to have started a downtrend, making a pattern of lower tops and bottoms. So it's very possible that we head much lower from here. Where it ends up is anybody's guess, but it's got supported around 305, 310. If we break that level, then it's really bad for this counter. So my suggestion would be to exit Bharti Airtel. No point in holding on to something that is not doing too well. Like I said, there's a whole universe of stocks out there which are in their own bull markets, and there are a lot of options available to investors to invest in.
Okay, on the fundamentals,